The new year approached, but John felt no joy. His heart ached with loneliness. The walls of his small apartment seemed to close in, suffocating him. Tears welled in his eyes. He had nothing left to live for. This New Year's Eve, he decided, would be his last. John took out a dusty bottle of whiskey. It was a present from his late wife Mary. He poured himself a glass, the amber liquid a cruel reminder of happier times. As the clock ticked towards midnight, he raised the glass to his lips, ready to drink away his sorrow. Suddenly, a sharp rap on the door startled him. John frowned. Who would visit at this hour? He set down the glass, his hand trembling slightly. He walked slowly towards the door, his heart pounding in his chest. Peering through the peephole, he saw a small figure bundled in ragged clothes. It was a young boy, no older than 8, with a mop of messy brown hair and piercing blue eyes. The boy's clothes were dirty and torn, but he had a disarming smile on his face. John cautiously opened the door. "Yes?" he asked, his voice gruff. "Excuse me, sir," the boy said, his voice small but clear. "I haven't eaten in 3 days. Could you spare some food?" John hesitated. He had been about to end his own life, and here was a child begging for scraps. Something in the boy's eyes, a spark of hope amidst the hardship, touched John's heart. "Come in," John mumbled, stepping aside to let the boy enter. John made the boy a simple meal of soup and bread. The boy ate ravenously, his eyes shining with gratitude. As he ate, he chattered away, asking John about his plans for the new year. "Are you going to the fireworks, mister?" the boy asked, his mouth full of bread. John shook his head. "No," he said, his voice flat. He didn't want to talk about the new year. It held nothing for him but pain and despair. The boy, however, was persistent. "What are you going to do then?" he asked. John sighed. He didn't want to lie to the boy, but he couldn't bring himself to tell him the truth. "I'm not sure yet," he mumbled. "You should make a wish," the boy exclaimed. "It's New Year's Eve. I wish I had a family and a warm bed to sleep in." John's resolve crumbled. He looked at the boy, his young face full of innocence and hope, and confessed, "I was going to end it all tonight." The boy's smile vanished. "End it?" he whispered, his eyes wide with concern. John nodded, tears stinging his eyes. He told the boy about Mary, about his loneliness and despair. The boy listened intently, his small brow furrowed in thought. When John was finished, the boy said, "But mister, you gave me food, you gave me a warm place to sit. You are kind, you have so much to live for." John stared at the boy amazed. How could this child who had nothing be so full of life and hope? The boy's words, so simple yet profound, struck a chord within him. As the first fireworks exploded in the distance, John felt a shift within him. The boy's unwavering optimism, his sheer joy at the simple act of kindness, had chipped away at the wall of despair that had surrounded John. He looked at the boy, his heart filled with a strange new feeling. Gratitude. For the first time in months, John smiled. He was alive. He had a roof over his head, food in his belly, and this extraordinary boy sitting across from him. Maybe, just maybe, there was still hope for him. As the boy finished his meal, John learned that he was an orphan, living on the streets, alone and forgotten. A wave of protectiveness washed over John. He couldn't let this boy face the world alone. "Would you like to stay with me?" John asked, his voice thick with emotion. "I could use some company." The boy's eyes widened. "Really?" he breathed, his face lighting up with pure joy. "Really," John confirmed, his heart swelling with a love he hadn't felt in years. That night, as the fireworks painted the night sky in a riot of color, John tucked the boy into his own bed. He didn't know what the future held, but he knew one thing for sure. He was no longer alone. They named the boy Samuel, and together they embraced the new year with open arms. John learned that even in the darkest of times, hope can blossom in the most unexpected places, and Samuel, surrounded by John's love, finally had the family and warmth he had always wished for. It was a New Year's miracle, a testament to the enduring power of human connection and the boundless capacity of the human heart to heal.